Hi, I'm Esther Livingston, Berea's Internship Director, and today I want to introduce you to Steve Phan. He is the Chief of Interpretation, Education, and Visitor Services at Camp Nelson Monument, and that's located between Lexington and Danville. So students, I want you to know that Camp Nelson just recently became part of the National Park System, and it played a significant role in African American history, and it has a very unique connection to Berea through the work of our founder, John G. Fee. I was pleased to learn when Steve moved to this area that they would be offering a summer internship and that he would really like to connect with Berea applicants. So Steve, welcome. And would you tell us a little bit about Camp Nelson and the internship that's available this summer?
Of course. Well, thank you. It's good to see you again, Esther. And then I know I visited Berea College in December, and it was a wonderful experience. And just being on that campus, really, I found it inspiring, especially we had this direct connection with the founder of Berea College and John G. Fee. So as Esther introduced, my name is Steve Phan. I'm the Chief of Interpretation at Camp Nelson National Monument, one of the units of the National Park Service. We have 423 sites now. And there's several in your state, from Abraham Lincoln birthplace. Probably the most popular or more famous one is Mammoth Cave National Park, but we have Camp Nelson, Mill Springs Battlefield National Monument. So there are several sites that the National Park Service manages or administers in the Bluegrass State. So what is Camp Nelson? I think that's one of the questions that we get asked all the time. It's a really interesting site. Started as a U.S. Army supply depot operation base in kind of the midsummer of 1863 for military operations to go into East Tennessee and beyond, points further south. But it evolved to become a recruitment center for Black soldiers, African American soldiers. They were known as United States Colored Troops, or USCT. Over 10,000 were recruited at Camp Nelson, one of the largest recruitment camps for Black soldiers in the entire country. And it's really interesting because the backdrop of Kentucky is it's a border state, meaning it maintained the institution of slavery, was still in the United States or the Union during the war. So there's a lot of, complications and deeper issues here. But joining the soldiers as well will be their families, their wives, children, mothers, sisters. And so this also becomes a refugee camp as well for freedom seekers, enslaved people that are escaping the chains of slavery to, find this new life, forge this new life, hopefully by self-emancipating with the U.S. Army. And so how does John G. Fee come into this? Well, there's an influx of refugees, actually both Black and white, but predominantly African Americans into this camp here. And beginning in really late 1864 into 1865, with the backing of the federal government, they create the Home for Colored Refugees, which supports these, especially family members of Black soldiers and these other people, escaping slavery with, healthcare, education. There are schools developed. There are churches here as well. And so John G. Fee will be instrumental in the development of the Home for Colored Refugees, bringing staff along and really training the next generations of educators, religious leaders as well. So he is intimately and directly connected with this site here. So what do we have here today? Well, this was a county site. We're in Jessamine County in the city of Nicholasville. And this was managed as a county historic site for about 20 or so years. But this is really a nationally significant site, right? This African American experience is deeply woven into the fabric of our nation's history. And so in late 2018, this became a national monument as a part of the National Park Service. So we're literally building a brand new national park. It's incredibly exciting. The image you see behind me is actually our visitor center, which we're in the process of renovating. We reopened the visitor center in June of 2021. And this is why I'm calling for volunteers, or excuse me, interns from Berea College to be a part of building this brand new national park. And there's a lot of different duties that you would be involved with. We call it visitor service operations. So this selected intern would help us, operate the visitor center when visitors come in, especially during the summertime. There's a there's a large increase in visitation at the park. Obviously, the weather's nice. There's people on their summer trip. So we'll do orientation in the visitor center at the front desk. You'd be leading interpretive programs and guided walks and tours throughout the park. We have about a 5-mile trail system with historic earthworks out here, interpretive markers and things like that. And a lot of different research projects, whatever you might be interested in. We're still trying to develop our museum collections here. We're developing other projects related to interpretation and education here as well. We've got some interns here from the Student Conservation Association, and they've been assisting us with everything from creating interpretive exhibits that are going in our visitor center. They're working on other projects that we will feature in our programs throughout the summer, going into the fall, and moving forward as well. So this is kind of a rare opportunity because the majority of national park sites have been established for a long time. So interns will generally come in and work the visitor center and things like that. But we offer a diverse array of experiences and trainings here. So come and join us.
Yeah, it sounds like it would be very much in line with the interests of a lot of Berea College students. So tell us, what type of student, are you seeking? Are particular majors or skills, attributes that you need, and anything else that they might need to know about the internship?
Well, internships are about learning, right? Gaining experience. So I think, when you think of we call this a cultural site, there's like a site like Mammoth Cave, which is more of a natural site, right? We're a cultural site, so history related, but we do have elements of nature and all different types of resources here. And so, obviously, if someone has a history background and they're interested in, this era of American history, of course, but we're interested in any type of students that would be interested, that would be inspired by this site, right? Obviously, there's the African-American experience, there's a civilian experience, there's the park and recreation experience as well, right? Because this is a national park now. So at the moment, the majority of our visitors are locals. They do recreation, right? They come out with their dogs and they walk and they hike and things like that. And this is an open space for that. These are public lands. So, I think, Esther, we're looking for someone that's flexible, open-minded, willing to adapt to changing situations and circumstances. This is the National Park Service, so people come at different times. Who knows? You might be sitting at the front desk and a busload shows up with 50 people, and you kind of have to just get ready and like, hey, I might have to give a program to these people, right? Of course, you'll be working with us, park rangers, National Park Service staff, but yeah, people that are wanting to learn about this and that know that whatever you're interested in, I think we could find some sort of inspiration, some sort of project that you could work on here that would benefit our park and the visitors as well as obviously the student that's gaining experience. So yeah, someone that's open-minded, flexible, excited to learn, and can bring their vibrant personality and culture to our park as well.
Okay. And I do understand they do need to be either a U.S. citizen or permanent resident or national. They have to be able to pass a background check, and that you are going to offer them a 2-week orientation training, right?
That's correct. Yes. And we will have, we've got a lot of different seasonal staff, mostly interns and volunteers starting around this time, March, May 2022, into June and things like that. We'll have a 2-week orientation to learn all about Camp Nelson, the operations here, specific training in regards to, visitor services, basically customer service, but also interpretation and education as well, how to, formulate public programs. And so, we have enough staff this summer, Esther, that this intern would help us lead daily programs around the visitor center, on the trails and things like that. So, and by the way, we're in the process of enhancing our library. And so we have a lot of different resources here for the interns to learn all about Camp Nelson, the Civil War, Kentucky, connections to Berea College and John G. Fee. There's a lot here.
Okay, great. All right, students, to apply for this, you can find the detailed information, the full job description on beyondberea.org. And if you would like to apply, you need to email your resume and cover letter to Steve Phan, and we will put his email address and website for Camp Nelson in the link in bio. And you can see other employer videos at beyondberea.org. Steve, we want to thank you very much for sharing this information and for your time actually to talk with us today. Thanks all.
Thank you so much.